And welcome to a brand new life, to a brand new day, all the way from the wastelands of California. My name is Michael, and I'm a mere figment of your imagination. I look forward to once again serve you those sounds of salvation. This, in fact, is a very different kind of show, a place where we don't feel so alone. Let us chase away the light no matter what you at home choose to believe. I do admire you for your curiosity. Oh, yeah, live and direct right now on the TuneIn Radio app, and of course on YouTube. Go to michaeldecon.com for further details. My guest this evening is Marshall Masters. He is a former CNN Science Features news producer, freelance writer, television analyst, and the publisher of YowUSA.com. He has spent many years researching Earth changes and Planet X. He's been here before, and he still remains one of the most popular guests on the program. Once again, thank you for allowing me into your hearts and into your minds. Here we are again on a night like this. Good evening to all of you out there, wherever you may be. What's up, boys and girls? Here we are with another special edition of the Michael Decon program. It feels pretty damn good to be here. I hope you stick around for what I've got planned for all of you. And I believe Marshall is sending me some kind of message here. Let's see what he's saying. Ooh, he has some sort of issue going on in the background there. I think he might be ready. Let's see what's going on. What happened there, Marshall?
Raccoon.
Raccoon, tell me about it. What happened?
Well, I live out here in the country now, kind of really like it. And got a raccoon, couple of raccoons, they get a little bit of, to be a little bit of problem. I can hear them scratching around and they're hunting for food. I don't know what it is. They always seem to show up when I'm doing in an interview.
Oh, wow, they missed you.
Thing. Crazy thing, but I do like living in the country.
Oh, yeah. You know, I brought you in just a few moments before I say the old song and dance here. Usually I say something about what's going on. So I'll just say that right now, since I have you here. So much to dissect here tonight with you, Marshall. And of course, our friends in France are still going strong with the protesting. And of course, the revolution will not be televised. How accurate that phrase turned out to be, I find that extraordinary. The whole world is, in fact, watching. How do you feel about that, Marshall?
Oh, I think we're living in a magnificent time, Michael. And I'm watching what's happening with Europe, the Yellow Jackets, Brexit, MAGA here in the United States. This is a global freedom movement. It's not a cult personality. In other words, if they get rid of Trump, someone else will pick up the banner and march on. I am really excited about it purely from a standpoint of Planet X. That's my draw to this,
right?
Because in my book, Being in It for the Species, I go at great length about the Anunnaki and what they're doing, or what they're going to do when they arrive, and it's a subjugation. And I've always, it's always been a dark fear that we have been so heavily programmed to just roll over and die.
Right.
That we would do that. And I'm seeing people standing up for their freedom across the globe, and it just fills me with peace.
It really does, actually.
Me. It's a wonderful thing to see. I believe this year, I knew about all of this long before there was the guy between P, after P. And you don't want to mention the name because there's a tremendous amount of backlash and suppression. But I knew about all of this stuff months before actually it started to get a following through my sources, which are typically I have a lot of good, reliable sources, both enforcement and military. And discretion's the better part of valor.
Oh, yes.
And they're following it. And I think we're going to have a year of tumult. It's going to be tumultuous, but it's also going to be cleansing. I think this is when Planet X comes, it's just gonna hurt. That's all. It's just gonna hurt. Uh, but I was always worried because to me, it was like humanity. When this happens, we're going to come to a fork in the road. Exactly what the Hopi prophecy rock tells us. And if we continue along the present line, it doesn't look good.
And
As in, we'll wind up becoming a slave species for countless generations to come, and it won't go any other way until there's nothing left to exploit. And then we're going to be the masters of a dead world. On the other hand, if we take the high road, so to speak, there's a fantastic future. That's what the Hopi prophecy rock says. And it's only been until the last year that there's ever been an inkling, even a remote possibility, that humanity is going to say, I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. I want my freedom back. And I want a currency that's worth something, that doesn't exploit me. I don't want to send my children to pointless wars and they come home without arms and legs. I don't want to see my children getting these oppressive student loans that are slave debt, destroy them for the rest of their lives if they can't find a job to pay them off. People are yearning for freedom. And in America, it really comes down to there's two sides of it. You have your globalists and then you have your anti-globalists. And what I find interesting is when the Planet X flyby occurs, the areas that are going to be the most impacted are where you have the people on the left, the liberals, the globalists. They're going to be along the coastlines. Coastlines are going to be utterly devastated. Yeah, you'll have other fault lines, particularly in the center of the country, and that's going to be an issue. However, the Americans who embrace Trump and his agenda are living in the most survivable parts of the country. And the ones that are angry as hell and hate Trump and hate this and all that, they're the ones that are living in the worst parts of the country for survival. And interestingly enough, they are the ones where there is the greatest amount of disinformation to suppress awareness about what's happening. There's much more awareness of things in the flyover states than there is along the coastlines.
yes, and Marshall, before we really head down into the rabbit hole here, I do want
Whoa, it's a deep one too.
I
It's a deep one.
I agree. I do want to welcome you back again to the program, and of course, welcome to the new year.
Well, welcome to 2019, Michael.
I know, right?
And
I definitely hope you had a great Christmas too, by the way.
oh, I wish I could say that I had a great Christmas
Uh
day,
oh, what happened?
but it was,
Uh oh.
well, it was a day
You could tell
of,
me. You could tell me.
I can tell you.
I'm here
Okay,
for you.
that's good. And I appreciate it. I've been following all of this stuff and assiduously. I mean, every morning I spend probably an hour and a half studying it.
Yeah.
And again, I'm looking at this purely from a Planet X standpoint as to what's happening because there is a sociological event that's occurring. Remember, what was it, that line from Encounters of the Third Kind? Avant sociologique. Remember that?
I
The
do.
French guy?
Oh yes.
And I feel like I'm watching it, but it was always at arm's length. I knew about all of these things that were coming, and long before people even were talking about it. But it was always clinical for me. It was always arm's length. And then there's, the term proof. And in October, they started talking about the Fed, what the Fed would do with raising the interest rate. And the mainstream media was all ain't gonna happen, ain't gonna happen, ain't gonna happen, ain't gonna happen, ain't gonna happen. And there's just a couple of anons out there saying, no, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Well, it didn't happen like the MSM said. It happened like the anons said. And so you have that proof. And for me, as I'm watching this in the lead up to Christmas, I'm just I'm looking at this, and sometimes you see it and you're going, I'm seeing it. Oh my God, I'm seeing it. I was like, this is, and this wasn't the first time this year. In September, I saw Planet X with my own eyes, and
That's
that
true.
was the worst day of my life.
I
But
think you told us a little bit about that, and go ahead
yeah,
and tell the audience just a little bit about that, some cliff notes of your observation.
it was on September 9th up around the Warden, Washington area. We were driving. I was with someone who is a very sharp lady, um, contributor to my program, a volunteer. And I was up there visiting, and we were actually studying the flood history of the state, which is very fascinating. And we were on the way back going through wheat fields, and she's sitting there driving, and I'm kind of half slumbered. You know how it is when you're just riding along. I love when someone else drives, and I'm just sitting there, la 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 la, and all of a sudden she's going, ah, I see it. She's screaming, and it's like, hello. This is a rude wake up. I mean, it's like you don't even hear him say, put your tray up to the upright position. I mean, it was just screaming. I see it. Next thing, she whips the car around, and I looked out. I was in the passenger window, and there it was. The sun was just above the horizon, which is for naked eye observation. It's got to be there. You got just above the horizon, sun, you're talking about dawn and dusk. And I see it, and I mean, it's like I've looked at so much imagery over the years. I'm not sitting there going, what am I seeing? And I'm thinking and rationalizing and whatever. I do what I always do when I look at imagery that's sent to me by people. I study it.
Sure.
Ob- Objectively, I don't think. It's a very, very pure visual process. You're looking for visual clues. And I look at it and I go, right there and then, I'm looking through the passenger window, which is glass. So we got to get rid of the window. So I threw open the door, jumped out, looked at it exactly like I saw it in the car. And she's standing over there. She had run around from the other side of the car, from the driver's side. And we're both standing there looking at it. And it was a very brief moment of time. Didn't even have a chance to get my cell phone out to get a snap. And I was looking at it. Then, and I knew I saw the real deal, period, period. And, but I wanted to test her. So I said, where did you see it between the 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock position relative to the sun? And I asked her that because I actually saw it around the 11:30 position. So it was a test question, trick question. And she came back and said, no, I didn't see it there. I saw it between the 11:30 and the 11:45, which is where I saw it. So immediately she validated me and I validated her. We didn't have a big celebration that day. I just, we drove back and we could barely speak,
Oh, okay.
um, because when you see it, it's like seeing a bullet come right between your eyes. You know, this is death.
Yeah, so it freaked you out.
Well, yeah, in a sense that I could no longer, in all these years I've been talking about it, it's always been an arm's length thing for me. I never doubted its existence after I did my homework. And that took me several years. It wasn't until about 2005, 2006 that, there was no question in my mind we were dealing with something real. And got back, and you start thinking, you contemplate. And what I began contemplating was not the stuff that people would think about, which is, uh, what's going to happen to me and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, now I know there's so many people that have sent me imagery over the years. And I'm very picky. If I publish something, it's maybe 2% of what's submitted to me. And I'm serious. I throw a lot of stuff out. But there's a lot of, even the stuff I throw out, there's a lot of it that's still good, but I can't use it because it's missing something important. But there's no question in my mind the person saw it and they had an experience. And so I really started thinking about all of the people who had sent me these photo ops, and all I could think about in my mind was, had I been fair with them?
Mm.
Had I been fair? And I thought about it, and there's times when you get people that are just lazy, and they throw me something that says, "My brother took this picture last year. What is it?" And I just respond, "It looks exactly like a picture your brother took last year.
That
Congratulations."
was a pretty good. That was a pretty good impersonation, by the way.
There you go. And the but on the other hand, the people that were sincere about it, I just always would just say, "Here's the problem with your observation report. Here's what you need to do the next time. Keep looking. God bless. Thanks for sending it in." So I went through that process in my mind of all those years of looking at imagery from people, and that was for me was really important because I felt there's a difference between empathy and sympathy. All right. As a man, we could sympathize with a woman being raped, but only another woman who's been raped could truly empathize with that woman. She's been there. You see what I'm saying?
Understood. That
And
got dark quick.
so
Yes.
uh, it's just one of those things. Unless if you ain't been there, done it, seen it, and bought the T-shirts, different thing.
Agreed.
So
Yes.
it was a terrible moment for me. And then this other
Ooh.
terrible moment was started the day before Christmas.
Oh my God.
That night, when all of the facts, everything on the proof was coming in. I saw what was happening with the Fed. Trump played it brilliantly. He did. He let them tank the market, and then he just called, and then he, tells Wall Street, "Hey, this is a good time to shop for bargains." And next thing we know, it comes back. Very well played. But it was like watching Nibiru or Planet X for the very first time in September. This was the same kind of unsettling thing for me because I understood the consequences of it. And all Christmas Day, all of these ideas, thoughts, facts, information that I'd been, working and gathering for a period of, by that, about almost 2 months, um, it was all buzzing around in my head like angry bees.
I know what that's like. It's almost like you experience like a wave of anxiety filled
Yeah.
with problems and issues that you want to solve, right?
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
the thing
Been
is,
there.
is that, it's not directly connected to you. It is something that's going to impact a lot of people.
Yeah, you're thinking from the micro to the cosmic level, basically.
Yeah. And I was looking at it that way. And it was an awful, awful. Christmas Day was just awful. I couldn't turn it off. All this was buzzing around in my mind. I went to bed that night wondering how this was going to play out. And I woke up in the morning and I had a wonderful sense of calm. I found my peace. I found my center with it because uh, I realized that this was not a personality cult built around Trump. Trump's just a player. And if Trump falls, someone else will step up, pick up the colors, and continue the advance. This is an unstoppable movement. And I knew that when I woke up in the morning, it was just like God had just given me that epiphany in my sleep. And so for me, the day after Christmas was my real Christmas. And it was a day of calm and peace for me. And I really appreciate that. And for all the folks that are out there and they're doing this, it's very risky. There's very dangerous things that are happening. This is a very dangerous time. But on the other hand, like I said, from a standpoint of Planet X, you know, what I'm seeing is humanity is is standing up for its freedom. And when the and I wrote about all this in my book, Being in It for the Species.
But by the
The
way, Marshall, did you think the French people were the ones to sort of have center stage to teach the rest of the world this? The French, of all people. Amazing.
well, the French, but Brexit, I think the British people, uh, the way they stood up was brilliant. I think the Yellow Jackets are courageous. I think the folks here that are, MAGA, they're courageous. Um, and that for me is, I celebrate that courage every day. I look at, these people aren't doing it for the quick money. They're not putting out fear porn and all this ridiculous nonsense. They're going, we want our freedom. We want our freedom. And we'll fight for it. That's important. It's one thing to say you want your freedom. You're not going to get your freedom back on Amazon Prime, even with free delivery
Or Twitter.
or Twitter.
Right.
But and well, forget Facebook. But
Right. Yeah.
uh,
Good Lord.
it's just it's an amazing time to be alive. And somebody once commented to me, and they said they looked at everything that's going on with these movements, and he said, you know, and I heard this almost from the beginning. He said, it's like we have competing Anunnaki bloodlines wrestling for control of the planet before the home world arrives.
That's an interesting point.
Isn't it?
It kind of is because that's the way I sort of view all political parties, Marshall. Even though
Yeah.
I'm bipartisan, I still will rally against them to a certain degree. But
Yeah.
that's not to say that I won't support any president that does take that share because that's something I believe in by default.
Yeah.
Kind of have to.
Yeah. And um, uh, I mean, what I see in America with everything that is going on uh, is when I look at the opposing forces, the globalists and anti-globalists, and I study this from a standpoint of chi, or what's called prana or ki, life force energy, as I like to think of it, the loving white light of God. That's what makes us alive. Without prana, without chi, without ki, without this life force energy, we're corpses. And this energy comes from only one place. You have to be walking humbly with God to receive life force energy. And so the anti globalists are humble people that are walking with God, great courage and strength, resolve. And on the other hand, I see the globalists And these are the people who have turned their back on God. They're no longer receiving the light of God's loves. So, where do they get their life force energy? They take it from people who are humble and walk with their God. And they take it through the most horrible means, whatever they can use to milk that energy out of somebody's, you know, it's a terrible thing. And I'm watching this flow of chi, and it really started for me what was interesting during the Kavanaugh hearings.
Oh my, yes.
Okay. And there was, and think about it, who were the ones that were racing around making the most noise, ambushing people in Washington in the elevators and humiliating them and all that? They were young people. Young people have vast amounts of life force energy and they can squander it pretty easily.
Pretty restless, the youth, of course. And of
That's
course,
right.
by the way, I agree with what you're saying. We've seen many people's livelihoods ruined purely for political gain.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is a very big, very dangerous thing. But on the other hand, there's there's a something Solzhenitsyn said that is so brilliant, and it goes right to this situation. You only have power over people so long as you don't take everything away from them. But when you've robbed a man of everything, he's no longer in your power. He's free again. That's exactly what is happening. The people who have profited from globalism tend to live on the coasts because where are all the manufacturing jobs? The manufacturing jobs are in the center of the country. Well, they used to be. And globalism, by definition, is very simple to understand. Globalism is a redistribution of poverty. You take the poverty of Chinese families, export it into the American Midwest to American families. That then causes a displacement of wealth in the middle class American families. And that displacement of wealth is what the globalists skim off the top. And they keep what they want, and the rest they use however they so choose. That's globalism. That's how it effectively works. I don't care all the happy nonsense they give you. And so, in the process of doing this, you have people who haven't been affected by globalism, and they live principally over in financial areas, artistic areas, along the coast, whatnot. Then you have people that have absolutely no idea that they're the victims of globalism. I think an excellent point are a lot of these kids who've come out of school, they have good degrees, but they couldn't find jobs.
Oh, that's a lot of people in America. A lot of
A
my
lot
friends,
of
too.
people.
Oh, yeah.
And what happens to them is horrible. This is horrible. These kids are the flower of a generation. We don't need to imprison them in debtor prisons. And that's what student loans are, debtor prisons. I learned the hard way because when I had moved from one place to another, uh, the cable company gave me a new telephone number to happen to belong to a 26-year-old girl who had a degree in engineering and went upside down, couldn't find work, and was in arrears. And what happened was the phone was on fire. 10, 15 times a day, I was getting phone calls from bill collectors, and they put them into a pool of collectors. So you were getting hit from every which direction.
Marshall, that
And it
sounds.
starts with, we're going to put you in prison. We're going to jail you. You're a terrible person. And what they say to these kids is so awful. And I feel so sorry for them. Uh, but yet, I don't know how many of those kids that are in default understand that the student loan program that's crucifying them was created by the globalists.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Okay.
It's pretty outrageous how much money they have to invest in multiple things, really. And
Yeah.
that leaves them in debt
Yeah.
severely. It's a horrible thing.
I'd love to see Trump give those kids a debt jubilee or some kind of help. What would help them is let them at least be able to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy for reorganization because these companies that are loaning the money, they once you may have 20,000 to get you through school. By the time they're finished with interest, penalties, compounding, your 20 is now 60, 70, 80. And it's completely, it's beyond mean. But the point here, though, is these kids are being crucified by this horrible, ugly system. I mean, these bill collectors that are calling, these are the kind of people that only want two things. They don't want to go to jail for failure to pay child support, and they need their next bottle of vodka. So they don't care how many of these wonderful kids they're going to crucify. They're the scumbags of the earth, and they rule. And, when I look at this freedom movement, I'm going, there's got to be justice. There's got to be fairness. There's got to be real equality. We can't keep doing this. We can't keep destroying the flower of a generation. And I hope Trump will do something to help them. I don't know. I mean, Republicans are, I don't care much for Republicans because they're, you know, whatever works for the country club doesn't necessarily work for the rest of us.
Correct.
But I sure would love to see these wonderful kids get a shot at life because otherwise, what they have to do is they have to get down to a point where they're not making more than $30,000 a year. So they got to go down to the poverty level so that they can get these bill collectors off their backs. And it's a life sentence.
It's criminal, really.
It is.
It really is. And Marshall, I saw a very interesting article about the Earth's magnetic field, which was behaving in such a strange manner. It had many scientists baffled completely. And I thought, Marshall must know something about this. Is it possible that Planet X might be causing all of this?
Oh man, we have a lot of stuff going on. People, the three questions they ask me: when are we going to see it?
All the
Okay.
time, all the time. People email
We're
me.
seeing it all the time. I've seen
Right.
it. You haven't seen it. It's it right now. It's luck of the draw. I can tell you this. You go to my website. I have the last observation analysis I posted was best Nibiru observation for 2018 over Russia, and that was. I mean, usually my videos would get um, 30, 40,000 views. But in the last couple of years, the algorithms are suppressing me. So it only says 7,000. But the weird thing is that it'll stop showing views. The views won't increment, but the thumbs up keep coming. And the thing about this was that this is an at altitude observation. And it's really, really the guy who did it, the Russians who did it, brilliant. Oh my God. For me, it was like being a kid in a candy shop because all the stuff that's important to me as a researcher, he was doing. And, right now it's sitting here with 157 thumbs up, six down. Would you like to have a video like that with that kind of voting?
I've had things like that happen. I had numbers pulled back. I've had videos just deleted without any explanation by YouTube. And of course, I've had some recent trouble with them and not to mention Facebook. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, apparently, speaking of which, I was faced with a more recent issue with Facebook for those out there who don't know. A gentleman by the name of John Kelly, who was supposed to be joining me tomorrow. He was trying to promote his appearance on Facebook,
Hmm.
and Facebook thought the link to my show was against their community standards.
You don't know what I remember when I first started YouTube. Gosh, it must have been over 10 years ago. And back then, it was really an amazing thing. And today, YouTube to me is more like Wild Wild West, and the sheriff is a mean drunk. Um, the in response to my Nibiru observation video, uh, I got a notice that my channel was demonetized, even though I had no strikes, no copyright complaints, nothing. They demonetized me because I was reusing the video from the Observer, who
Yeah.
had given me
Uh-huh.
permission to use it. And when I posted an article on my site saying that I had been suppressed, they came in, hacked me, and they did so much damage to the site. I actually had to pay my hosting company to go in there and just reload a lot of stuff so it was clean. And it took 3 days to clean up the mess. So yeah, there's a huge amount of suppression, and I can understand why they demonetized my video, and I can understand why they attacked me for publishing that I'd been demonetized. And here it is. This year, we're going to start seeing a lot more of these at altitude observations. And these are things people are not going to be able to blow off with nonsense, because these are passengers. They are looking out the window of the airplane and they see two suns in the sky. That's
Two
what happened with
sons.
these guys.
Oh, yes.
They look out the window. We're going to have more of that. I'm already starting to see more of them. Um, and we're going to have a lot more as it comes along. So uh, I think that this year is a year for people to really stop and think about preparedness and take it seriously. And one of the things I did last year was I announced to my readers that I was changing direction in a sense. For years, I've always been doing what I call validation publishing, which was providing information and knowledge and proof for people who are trying to get to it. Well, there's tons of that already now. For a long time, I was just kind of like one of the few tent posts in the topic. Well, now there's a whole peanut gallery of these jokers.
Oh, yeah.
So,
A lot of people into
uh,
this subject, of course.
oh yeah, oh yeah, and there's some of them that are doing top drawer work. And then there's the fear porn mongers who are looking for AdSense revenue. And the funny thing is, the fear porn mongers, they never bother with them. They give them wonderful stats. They make all kinds of money. It always is. I get demonetized because I use their videos. I've had these jokers steal my videos and then degrade the quality of them, repost them, monetize them with AdSense. And when I have complained to YouTube about it, YouTube is like, so what?
Yeah,
you know,
basically. That's
and they let it go.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Uh,
channels out there with questionable material that are monetized. It's very unusual, but I guess YouTube has their own standards.
well, YouTube is doing what they're told to do.
That too.
That's the bottom line. And the I just I see all these difficulties. I see what's happening, um, and but right now, I really want to focus on preparedness. What do people need to be doing? And so that's the reason why I worked with Dwayne Brayton and we wrote Radio Free Earth.
Right.
This is my latest book. And Radio Free Earth is about, our, we just, today we put up our mission statement. And essentially, it's just helping people to use amateur and consumer two-way radios to survive through disaster and to thrive afterwards. And that's been the message, which is a positive and upbeat message. But people hear that and they really kind of, well, it's a hobbyist thing, it's a geeky thing. Cabbies use two-way radios, and cops and these old guys that just like to play with this crazy stuff use it. And so What is it to me? I got a smartphone. I can do anything in the world. All right. Well, let's talk about your smartphone. There's something called a failure cycle. When one of the things that on my site, Radio Free Earth, .org, if you go to radiofreeearth.org, I have just finished putting up 1 hour and 40 minutes of free video instruction that tells you what's at stake, how people and radios are going to work together in a disaster, and where to get started for the least amount of money.
Right, and that pole shift is coming, folks.
The pole shift is coming. Now, that information is there, and I'm encouraging all your listeners, go to radiofreeearth.org and watch the videos and make an informed decision. I'm not asking you to buy anything. I don't even want your email address. Come, watch at your own pace, do it anonymously. Why? Why? Now I'm going to give you the real reason, because telling people the nice stuff didn't work. So here's the real reason. In a post-disaster world, predators and tyrants will have very good two-way communication equipment. They will understand the advantage. They will have two-way radios. And for people that are going, well, that's geeky, and I don't know, getting a smartphone, and nya. What are you going to have? Tom-toms, red bandanas, send up a balloon against people who've got two-way communications? These people, what folks have to understand is a global disaster is going to be a feeding frenzy for predators and tyrants. And if you don't have the ability to organize with others, do your own reconnaissance and surveillance, and stay ahead of things, they're going to be doing it. They're going to have long-range, heavy-duty binoculars and two-way radios and whatnot. And they'll be watching you, and they'll take their time. Evil is patient. And then they're going to strike when they want. And when they strike, they're going to take what they want, rape whoever they want to rape, torture whoever they want to torture, and kill whoever they want to kill. And if you're listening to this today and you're going, well, I don't know if radio is my cup of tea and I'm going to wait and see. When your loved ones are being raped, mutilated, tortured, and butchered, you can tell them, hey, I didn't do anything. I'm sorry. Bad call. I'll try to do better next time. Is there going to be a next time? No. But why not keep the charade going right to the bitter end? So for you out there listening, there is so much. We just published an article, the title is Science 31. 2018 was the worst ever in terms of fireballs that have been observed and earthquakes of all magnitudes, which is our empirical data sets. 2018 was the worst year in all recorded history. All recorded history.
Yes, it was a
year.
Very bad year. And before we venture off into that, there was another gentleman in the chat room who wanted me to ask you, what are the best times to see this quote unquote theoretical planet just before sunrise, he says.
This theoretical planet?
That's what he wrote, yes.
Well, he can theoretically not waste his time. All right. I already told you earlier, dawn, dusk. But when I hear somebody say, theoretically.
Yes, there's lots of people. Yes.
It's like, well, I want to dabble with this. I want to dabble. I don't have time for dabblers.
Right. Lots of individuals out there.
I'm sorry to insult your listeners.
Skeptical, some individuals.
This skeptical stuff is all, this is the standard. Nothing to see here, whatever. I have a video, I put it up in 2013, I believe, called Planet X 101, Who, What, Why, Where, and How. It explains the entire history of Planet X. and where the search for this planet began with European astronomers after the discovery of planet Uranus, which was the first planet to be discovered with a telescope.
And now that I have you a little bit fired up, Marshall, I think this would be a great time to tell you a little bit more of about once I did announce your arrival. Like always, Marshall, you're going to have people that are very excited, very skeptical, of course, and some folks will take it to the next level and send me all these notes. And one individual out there, he did want me to ask you about the Cobran Bible. He brought this to my attention. There is this website called uh, something like Mormon Universalism or something like that, where they mention you, Marshall.
Mormon Universalism?
Something of that nature. I'm not quite sure what the website was. I don't have it
I don't
anymore.
know about that.
Yeah, it was basically what they were saying was that you basically fabricated the Cobran Bible. I'm gonna have to send you a link to that.
No, because it's a disinformation. Okay.
It's a
The
Mormon
Colburn Bible is the
Reformation.
size of the Holy Bible. It's the size of the King James Bible.
It's a Mormon Reformation website, by the way.
Mormon Reformation. Well, they're gonna. It's not gonna jive with their philosophy of history, so they're gonna smear me.
I had no idea that you were gonna pop up on some Mormon website, though, Marshall. That's
Neither did I.
pretty unusual, right?
I don't know what's unusual anymore.
I mean, sometimes my name pops up in weird places as well, but not on a Mormon website. That's why I'm like, my God, Marshall.
Well, I don't understand it. I mean, but also the Mormons. I'm kind of. It was always,
What do
the
you?
Mormons were
What?
totally into preparation and preparedness, and they were always telling people you got to have, all this supplies, and you have to be ready for this and ready for that. And they seem to be backpedaling from that now. But on this, they're going to attack it. For example, and this is when you have research that's happening now. The Colburn Bible actually was something that was in the history of it. The first part was penned by the Egyptians around the time that the 5 books of Moses were being penned, and the other half of it was in about the time that the New Testament was being written, and that was being written by the Celts. The book is a phenomenal source for information on the Colburn Bible. I mean, anybody who said that I wrote it has got to be secretly retarded. You got to read the book.
Well, these folks
Read
sure
the
did.
book, and you're going to understand whoever said this is secretly retarded.
That's a Mormon Reformation, by the way.
Mormon retarded. I don't care. It's retarded.
I don't disagree
Whoever
with you on
said
that.
never even looked at a Colburn.
It's a very strange religion, or cult, rather.
Well, that's each to his own.
I agree.
Each to his own. I mean, I live in the West, grew up with Mormons. I never had a problem with them.
Well, they're good people, but sometimes, their views clash with others, and how it goes. That's the way life works.
Yeah, but I grew up in Arizona.
Oh, did you cut off there? Oh, we might have lost Marshall. Marshall, are you alive? Not hearing audio. We might have lost Marshall here, folks. Very interesting. Let's see what happens here if I hang up and try to get a hold of Marshall Masters here. Oh, and he cut off. Call dropped, it says. Let's bring him back on. Be patient with me, folks. We are ringing Marshall Masters back up now. Ring, ring, ring. No answer. Did we trigger him, folks? Uh-oh, right to voicemail. That's not a good sign. Not a very good sign at all. I guess you just had to bring up Mormonism, and then everything went bad there. Oh, now he's calling back. Marshall,
Are you there?
I'm alive. I thought you might have been abducted by the Mormons.
Well, no, you just, uh, well, this happens all the time when I touch on something that's delicate. Interviews get hacked.
Well,
Sorry
yeah.
about that.
We've had issues before in the past.
Yeah. Yeah.
It happens.
So, huh?
It happens.
Yeah. It's the life we chose. It just comes with the turf.
Understood. So I just wanted you to be aware that there is another website going after you a bit there, Marshall.
Oh,
The usual.
you know, I just people who are they take cheap shots at other people. I mean, we just live in a time when this is the norm. I mean, I even see it with year in the 80s when I was a science feature producer at CNN. It was one of the most phenomenal times of my life. This is when Ted Turner was running it.
Right.
And it was a lean, mean news machine. And oh my God, it was just magnificent. And today I can't watch it. It's like a perverted sequel to Invasion of the Body Snatchers. When I was at CNN, you had to have two sources. Who'd have thunk it? Today, your two sources are you invent an anonymous source and then you say you believe your anonymous source, and there's your two sources. And so that's what the media has become. And it's disgusting. But on the other hand, I thank God that there's people like you.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Yeah. But
You're standing up.
there's not that many people like myself, Marshall. I am a part of a very small demographic, while the rest of the nation, the mainstream, those who are completely consumed by this, they walk around like a deer in headlights. I say this all the time, but it's very true, and that's what we see. Uh, the general population. I find it kind of amusing. Well, not totally amusing, but I see this sort of intimidation in terms of subjects like science, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
For an example, you could just ask someone walking by in the street if they understand what hydrogen sulfide is, and they'll think you are asking about hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to hurt anyone's feelings. I just think this great display of ignorance on various subjects, it's it's out there. It's consumed
Well,
everybody.
I mean, these are the people that haven't been hurt by globalism. The people who have been hurt by globalism, the people who have, well, let me share with you an experience I had that really
Go ahead,
kind of
Marshall.
frames it. Because the people who love Trump are those that are opposed to them, hate them, and they don't understand them. All right. And when I was living in Brookdale, California, there was a redwood grove I used to love to go to, old growth redwood grove. And there was this one fellow, I would go the same time of day, and this other guy would go the same time of day, and he'd like to run around. It was a 1 mile track, 1 kilometer, excuse me. And I remember one day he was running, and I never saw a man that was so sad in my life. I mean, it was just somebody shot his dog or something. And,
Poor man.
we had talked from time to time, excuse me. So I motioned him over and I say, hey, what's hurting you, man? Why are you looking so bad? Well, this was back when Carly Fiorina, who I called the Wicked Witch of the West.
That's what I call Maxine Waters.
Yeah, yeah, they got these wicked witches, don't they?
They really do.
And
Hideous. Go ahead.
Carlene Fiorina had this globalist vision for Hewlett Packard. Now, when I was in the computer business, I did a lot of work with Hewlett Packard. Has a fabulous culture there. The families that did it, they really felt a commitment to their employees to give them a job that they knew wasn't going to be swept out from underneath. Well, Carly Fiorina had this globalist ambition, and she was closing down factories that were profitable left and right, and so that she'd get the real estate, which was worth money, for a quick cash out, and all the assembly lines were shipped overseas to China. Well, the guy that was doing this was this fellow that we're in the Redwood Grove, and he's running. And he was the one that had that sad look on his face. And he explained to me it was in the Midwest. It was probably, I think it was in Iowa. It was a small town, had only one manufacturing plant. It was a compact plant that made a very specific type of web server that was very popular. And these people knew that this was their only income. This was their only way to keep their town going. And the folks that lived there just put their heart and souls into it. And Hewlett Packard had immensely good profitability, but that didn't go to the new word narrative, which is just a fancy word for pack of lies. And the narrative, the globalist narrative, of course, everything's kumbaya and it's wonderful and we're all going to benefit. Well, his job was to go in and gut out the plant, fire the people. And this was done 2 weeks before Christmas. He came in, the first thing he did was he fired everyone in the plant, and they got 2 weeks termination 2 weeks before Christmas Day.
That's almost as bad as the radio industry. They are infamous for firing you on Christmas Day.
Yes.
Amazing.
And they do it. It's brutal and awful. And he was, he was taking down the assembly lines and putting everything into containers. And he said he had a terrible time. He said, I'm driving down the street. The police would tailgate me, intimidate me.
Oh, no.
I couldn't go into a restaurant. People were spitting in my food.
Oh, my goodness.
And I said, don't you understand what you were doing to them? And he said, well, I'm just doing my job. I said, are you very well paid for your job? He says, yes. I said, do you realize that was their livelihood and that you've destroyed Carly Fiorina and you are her little evil minion from their point of view, and you're the one destroying their town. I said, do you understand that? And he said, yeah. And he said, I don't know what to do. And I said, have you thought about a new line of work? And I never saw him again. Now that's globalism. That's what globalism was. You had people that their lives were being destroyed. So what's left after the factory goes? Your kids join the military and come home, with prosthetics, and you spend the rest of your life helping them to get by? That's globalism.
I agree.
And so all of these people, for a generation, have been abused most grievously. Nobody cared because everybody's busy having a globalist heyday.
Until it's too late.
And now these people who've been taking it in the shorts, you can say, oh, you go to Walmart, you stink. They don't care. You can go, they're ignoramuses, they're subhuman. They don't care. It is, They just are the people that are doing it, whether it's here, Brexit, or it's the Yellow Jackets. These are people who they're the folks who keep on a coming.
Yeah, they're in tuned, no doubt.
They're in tuned, and I'm just so excited to be alive to see this, and how powerful and how hopeful it is,
Oh, yes.
and how wonderful it is. Yeah, and as far as it goes for the ones that are saying they're all kinds of subhuman or whatever, that's what the Nazis said about the Jews before they put them in the ovens. They were subhuman. Okay? So, you know, no different than hearing politicians go, "Oh, they're these smelly people that shop at Walmart." You know? That's insulting.
Yeah,
That's insulting.
it
These are
is.
good people. These are good people. And they've taken decades of abuse, and now they're mad as hell, and they're not going to take it anymore. And their resolve is quiet, it is firm. It's like I see on the left rage, scream, universal talking points, all of this stuff. And on the other side, bring it on. Bring it on. And it just flows around them. It's amazing to watch. Who's got the chi? Who's got the life force energy? Who's got the light of God's love? It's the people who are standing up for their freedom,
I
not the
agree.
ones who are denigrating.
Yes, 32,000 people have turned out in the Yellow Vest demonstrations across France. It's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people.
Yeah.
And the mainstream media is not talking about this at all.
No, because the mainstream media is a propaganda mill. I look at CNN, it makes me want to projectile vomit.
I don't blame you. CNN has degraded itself time and time again, but they are occasionally entertaining late at night if you want a good laugh.
I can't, I mean, I worked with them.
Oh, that's true. That's
Okay.
true. You were
I
actually
was a
there.
science feature
Yeah.
producer.
Belly of the
Remember
Beast.
in the early days when CNN, used to see the newsroom?
Oh, yes,
Remember that?
I do.
You
Great
don't
shot.
see that newsroom anymore.
Not at
You know
all.
why? They don't do original reporting.
I was going to say,
They don't
because there
do
is no
anything
news.
investigative. These are just teleprompter readers. And whatever it is, they whip up their emotion, whatever sells to market. It's all propaganda. CNN is a propaganda mill. All right. But I mean, I'm equally disappointed with everything. It's like, there's only one network to me that is actually trying to do real journalism. It's OAN, One American Network. It's the only one I've seen that's actually that's old school. Who'd have thunk it?
Well, there really isn't too many media sources that you can actually think they're trying to get the truth across. Everything is delivered with some sort of agenda.
Well, look at it's called concentration. Okay.
Pre-programming
And,
as well.
huh?
I was just going to say pre-programming as well.
Yeah. Well, the concentration is what happened was there was a time in America when you could only control a few media outlets. All right. And this was years, decades of legislation or rules that had been put in place by the Federal Communications Commission. People think it's, the Supreme Court is the big bada bing. Hell no. The FCC is the big bada bing. Nobody can destroy the First Amendment faster than the FCC because we're in an electronic world, and that's what the FCC is doing.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
They have destroyed.
They destroyed the radio industry.
They destroyed the radio industry. Think about this. The first appointment a president makes is the FCC chairman. It was the first thing when Bush came in. All right. He came in, first thing, boom, put in a new FCC chairman. And that's where the whole thing that the Republicans wanted to be able to take all this anti-concentration rulings that had been in the FCC that gave us right of reply. Remember that? You used to, if you were a radio station and you were going to give airtime to a member of one party that was running, you had to give an equal amount of time to the other. There were a lot of rules in place that kept it a level playing field. It was the Republican Party that dismantled that entire series of protection, period. It was the Democrats who profited from it, because here's where their constituencies are different. The Republicans are sucking up to the internet, the internet companies that are providing the service. The Democrats suck up to the companies that are providing the content. That's why they control Facebook. All right. What you have is, when Trump came in, the first thing he did, appointed an FCC chairman, and what did he do? He eliminated net neutrality. That was his first job, number one, get rid of net neutrality. What happened was, the minute he got rid of net neutrality, the message went out to the content side. There was no longer a check and balance. As long as the service providers had to have a level playing field with net neutrality, it was incumbent upon content developers to allow us to have the same situation. There was somewhat of a level playing field. And what happened is, once that whole premise of net neutrality, a level playing field, was shattered, it was not only shattered for the service providers, who could now profit from it and create a tiered and multi-lane internet that's going to look more like, a cable TV package for Spectrum. What you have is that the Democrats have profited from this, and they've taken control of content. Meanwhile, there is concentration. What is concentration? When I was with CNN in the 80s, late 80s, they were really competing against approximately 50 major outlets. And that was the reason why there was good reporting. Man, there was fantastic reporting. There was competition, but the Republican Party got rid of the competition. They allowed for concentration. That's the reason why you hear Sean Hannity. You can drive across the country, ask truck drivers, and you can just keep tuning in from one station to the next across the country. That's the reason why you hear Sean Hannity.
And that's why the radio industry is in such a state it's in now, because things like that. It's terrible radio. Why would you want to listen to that? First of all.
It's awful.
It is awful.
What happens was, once the concentration was eliminated, all right, or concentration, now the anti-concentration rulings were destroyed by the Republican parties for the profit of the Democrat Party, all right? So, I mean, they're all in bed. This is all incestuous. What they would do is go into a market, and they would pick out a station that they wanted to acquire, and they would go to the owner, and they would say, here's the deal, carrot or stick. You sell to us for more than your station is worth, and you can retire in Bahamas, or we're going to destroy your business and you're going to be in bankruptcy. Take your choice. So the owners would sell out. So what happens is, the minute you got these guys, these large media corporations that own hundreds, if not thousands of stations, what do? They go into the station, and the very first thing they do is they put a black box in the head end so that they can have, from their primary studio, wherever it is, in New York or Washington or Los Angeles, that's going to have the broadcast across the country, that black box goes into the head end. And once they had that, they could go to their standardized programming. The next thing they did was they would keep a couple of people in the news department and fire everybody else. You may not remember, but I remember a time when there were a lot of radio stations and a lot of television stations in local markets that were actually so good at what they did, they were doing international reporting. You'd have, like stations in New York or Chicago, and they were sending correspondents overseas to cover stories. That was how competitive news was. Not anymore. You have
Far
just a
from it.
couple of people who can report car accidents and the weather, and that's it.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
radio and TV
that's the
have,
way it worked out.
yeah, radio and television have fallen so badly in the last
Uh-huh.
10 years, I would say.
Yeah,
Maybe even more.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I look at the fourth estate, and it's got the fourth estate is about as ethical as a porta potty.
I agree. Wholeheartedly. Yes. So you don't really watch too many media outlets then on television.
No,
And
I mean,
yeah,
I watch movies if I turn on,
mostly
I'll
movies.
watch
Okay.
HBO. But if I want news, I get it elsewhere.
You might just have to stick to the internet for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Journalism is a dirty word still in the 21st
Well,
century.
it's a sad word. It's a sad word. I was, when I was at CNN and back then when there was a real fourth estate, it was just for me coming out of college with a degree in communications, a decade earlier. So it was, imagine like if you were working on the Apollo space program. Imagine how that would have made you feel
Oh, of
to be
course.
a part of going to the moon or something that important. That's what it felt like. That's
It,
what CNN felt like. And
it,
it was
seem,
like,
it seems like you were just so thrilled with your position over at CNN in its glory days.
mm-hmm,
And I could tell that you really did enjoy yourself, and it did affect you to a certain
yeah,
degree. You leaving and seeing how that corporation has turned into what it has in more recent times. And I just want to quickly add that corporations have just dwarfed government. It's almost
yeah,
like you're not even pledging allegiance to this country, more along the lines of pledging allegiance to corporations.
yeah.
You can't
Or
say
more
that.
specifically, you're pleading,
You can't say that
you're
on radio,
pleading.
by the way.
Yeah, but stop and think about it. Before we throw the baby out with the bathwater with corporations. And it's like I remember Romney, corporations are people. Well,
Oh
that's
my,
the way the Supreme Court did rule it.
that Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney, I think he's a schmuck because I know how he made his money. He'd go into good company where people had good jobs. He would buy them out, scrap them out, and the people who had the pensions in that company were cheated. This man stole pension money, and he's out here lecturing about morality. Mitt Romney is a schmuck.
That's how I feel about the mayor of America, Rudy Giuliani.
Really?
I really do, because I think of 9/11, and anytime I hear him criticizing people for being liars, I just think, Rudy, weren't you a liar at one time too?
Yeah. Well, you never know how things are going to play out these days.
Oh, I
There's
mean,
like the old saying
sure.
goes, politics makes for strange bedfellows. And we'll see. I think this year we're gonna see some pretty stunning things happen.
I think so too. We saw many wild things in 2018. I'm glad you said that. We saw the earthquakes, the one in Alaska as well. We saw birds dying off mysteriously, and of course the coral reefs,
Mm-hmm.
just rapidly decreasing. And of course we have the asteroids and the volcanoes, and of course the increase of UFO sightings.
Yeah.
All of this has been going on in 2018, so I definitely look forward to what 2019 holds in store for us. And by the way, the chat room, someone brought up the Chinese landing on the moon. That's one thing I did want your input on. Did you see the footage yet, Marshall, of the Chinese?
No, I haven't. I've been trying to keep my website working again
That's true. You've been
after
facing
it was
issues.
attacked. So, tell me about it. I'm curious.
Well,
I saw about the moon
mhm.
landings. I saw that they took some pictures,
Yeah.
but was there something really stellar that
Oh
came through?
no, of course not. Nothing like that. It was just the story of the Chinese landing on the moon, and of course, some believe that that was CGI, and we can't go to the moon. I'm not certain I can follow that sort of concept, but it certainly makes for a good discussion. Lots of individuals out there, they're so inclined to believe that the Chinese landed on the moon. I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, they did it because they could. I don't know why they're doing it. Um, it's I wish I had the time to spend all day dabbling. To be honest, I
That's
just
okay.
don't. I have to write books.
I know
Uh,
you gotta do other things like worry about your website. Uh,
yeah,
Definitely, you are
yeah,
under attack. That's true.
yeah. That was, that was brutal. But on the other hand, I mean, I look at, I think something that was mortifying for me was what happened to Alex Jones. And to be honest, never was, I never followed Alex Jones. All right. I watched a couple of his segments from time to time. But when this was after, and I knew it. I told everybody, I said, watch what happens after Trump dismantles net neutrality. Heads are going to roll, but the wrong heads are going to roll. Sure enough, what happens to InfoWars? InfoWars, boom, he's pulled on multiple social media platforms. Um, there's because it took and threw it into the hands. It was a uh, windfall doing it now. So I mean, I look at Trump. There are things that Trump does, and there's things he does I don't like, and there's things he does that I do like. And for those who say Trump is an SOB, I say, fine, so what? He's our SOB. Okay.
Well, that's true. I'm not going to argue about that at all. He's
Yeah.
still our president.
Yeah. I never liked Obama, but that was it. He
Still our
won the
guy.
election.
Yeah.
And so we're going to, but still the same. There's a lot happening. There is a lot happening. And the Patriots inspire me. I'm very, very happy to see it. And a lot of these people are taking terrible risks with their lives and their careers, their families, their fortunes,
Oh, no kidding.
So uh, these folks, I just, I just hate seeing suppression.
And there's a lot of that.
There's,
And speaking of
yeah,
suppression, do the elites know that Planet X is coming?
yeah, of course they do. And that's the reason why they went and hit my website and took it down, because my video was too accurate. It was too good. And that was the reason why they nailed me and demonetized the channel. So like I said, no strikes of any kind. Never had a strike. Never had a copyright issue. Never had any issue whatsoever. But I'm demonetized because I put up a video that's a good analysis of what these guys in Russia were seeing at altitude. So that for me was, yeah, on one hand, I could sit here and go, they've done this to me. They've done this. Why bother? Everybody knows this stuff goes on. Nobody wants to hear about it anymore so much.
I thought that was Alex Jones talking to me there.
And, you know, the fact that they did that to me, all right, the fact that they hit me that hard
Right.
after I posted an article that I said I was suppressed.
That was
It
a
was
very
my last article of last year.
that was a very popular video that we did, the two suns in the sky.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
popular.
very popular. And so moves, counter moves.
Yeah,
This
I
is the life
understand.
we chose. So let's not complain about it. Let's look at it from a useful standpoint. The fact that I got suppressed that way is a very clear message to me. We're going to see a lot more at altitude observation videos on YouTube this year.
I hope so. I want to see more. And the question still remains, when is this going to happen? That's the question that just it never stops. People want to see this themselves. They want to know what time it's going to appear in the sky for them. So
Mhm.
much to consider before you actually see this object yourself in terms
Yeah.
of the current environment and
Yeah.
location that you're in. That counts.
And what the people don't understand is they're saying, well, I want to wait and see. You know, it's the classic line, show me a smoking gun. And anyone will tell you smoking guns are always found next to a smoking body. And a lot of, folks just say, well, wait and see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see.
Right.
And then think about it. Like I try and tell people with Radio Free Earth, if you have this communications capability, you've got a huge advantage. Huge advantage. Now, what do you want to do something about it? When all of a sudden there's a some kind of major event that wakes people up like 2012 did. And next thing you know, there's a run on the stores. It's Black Friday. Today you can get the stuff for really cheap compared to then. If you can find it, you're going to pay blood for it. And then you got to figure out and learn how to use it. So you're totally at a disadvantage because you were going, well, let's wait and see. That's the sensible thing to do.
Yes, everybody just wants to wait until
That's it.
disaster is around the corner.
That's it. They want to wait. And it's like, and if you want to wait, that's what you want to do. I only have one piece of advice to you. When things go sideways, keep your mouth shut. Don't tell others that you know about all of this. The first thing they're going to say, where's your bunker? You don't have a bunker? Then they're going to go, you manifested this. You wanted this to happen and you manifested this. And if we eliminate you, we will eliminate the threat. And then you got a little old lady with a PhD who steps out from the crowd and says, hey, anybody got a rope? You know, and that's not funny. That's what it's going to be, because when people are scared, boom, logic, reason, they're gone. They're gone. Like Spock said, logic is Tweeting bird. It's good.
Oh, yes.
Boom.
And another thing that a lot of people have not taken for consideration is Yellowstone.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're watching Yellowstone. My big concerns right now are Krakatoa and Etna. But I will tell you, the interesting thing is from a harbinger standpoint. In other words,
Yeah.
when this event happens, then boom, we're in the timeline of disaster. And many of the psychics I have spoken with over the years always are consistent. They always say, we're going to know we're in deep kimchi when Vesuvius blows.
Well, the Earth's north magnetic pole that is rapidly migrating towards Siberia
Mm-hmm.
definitely does trouble me. It makes me think that a
Yeah,
lot of what we are talking about is very accurate to some degree, Marshall.
it is.
Not a
And
lot.
there's other things. What disturbs me is
Go ahead.
over half of the coral reefs in the planet are dead.
Yeah, that's another strange
And they're saying
phenomenon.
in 10 years, there'll only be 5% of the corals left. And the corals are the fisheries. The corals provide the fisheries that provide protein for 30% of the world's population.
Yeah, not to mention that the carbon dioxide emissions will hit a record high
Mm-hmm.
as they did this year.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention 2019, we're still very much early in, but I expect that number to continue to soar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's troubling because anytime we talk about climate change and the environment, there's always those individuals out there who are so opposed to this. They don't believe any of this. They think it's all lies. They just don't want to believe it, Marshall. It's very strange. I'm not quite sure why. I don't know if it's because they watch the mainstream media and they see these people in suits, these anchors that are talking about it, when they have no idea what they're talking about. They're just reading off a teleprompter.
Right.
I rather believe the scientists than the talking heads. Just my opinion.
Yeah, it was like that Jim Acosta video when he went down to the border.
Oh, God, yes.
And he's going, see, I'm here next to the wall and it's quiet.
It's
I,
funny. It's funny you bring up.
honest to God, I laughed so hard I thought I'd fall out of my chair.
It's funny.
I'm going, excuse me, you just made Trump's case, you know? And then, of course, then comes the tweets.
Right. It's funny you mentioned the wall because I had put up a picture on my personal Twitter page of some
Mm-hmm.
individuals climbing over the wall
Mm-hmm.
over on, I think it's Calexico is where I was given the photo. Someone was actually crossing the border and they saw these cartel members actually jumping the border there, and they only took 30 seconds to cross what I believe might have been black tar heroin or maybe meth.
Jeez.
And it only takes 30 seconds, Marshall, to get that over. And they did this in
Yeah.
broad daylight. If anybody's curious, go to twitter.com at Michael Decon and you can see that photograph.
Mm.
Yeah, a friend of mine sent that to me and he wanted me to post that up there. And I thought, I'm not sure if I want to do that, but I can't just go along with the whole song and dance and not tell everyone out there that I do live in a border town and the issue with cartel members and human trafficking and the drugs and all that sort of thing, it does impact everyone out here.
Yeah. And it's hard to get a straight story on it when everything's being skewed
Sure.
and you don't know. But people in law enforcement, they know. And, you know, everybody says all this stuff is, the alliance and so forth is all a hoax and all of that. Well, how come you see lapels, pins, badges, flags, and who's got it? Troops, law enforcement, people who strap it on every day and put their lives on the line so that we can sleep safe, or at least hope to sleep safe. These are the people that they know it's not a hoax. They know the real drill. They know the real deal. Trust me, they do. And they are completely in support of what is going on right now. And I'm really pleased. I mean, look what's in France. The French government, their own police are wanting to,
They want to
they're
protest.
sympathetic to the protesters.
And I can't believe it's the French people, again, of all people, Marshall. They're the ones who are showing the rest of the world how to do it.
Yeah,
My God.
yeah.
Who would have thought?
This time we can skip the guillotines.
Right. Right. So, Marshall,
But
we are coming to a close very soon here, but there's
mhm,
there's still so much to discuss with you. But again, I do want to continue the conversation with you just for a few more minutes, Marshall. I don't want to cut you
sure,
loose yet.
sure. I always enjoy being on with you.
Clockwise, Marshall, it's always a great honor and privilege to discuss all these things with you because I know you are completely interested in all sorts of different facets,
Yeah,
including, like the afterlife and all that sort of thing.
yeah,
You're very much open to all these sort of subjects, which I appreciate tremendously. And I do want to go back in time to when you were working for CNN. Did you ever imagine yourself talking about Planet X and all these other subjects that we went into here tonight? Crazy, right?
You know, I never could have imagined it. But let me tell you, this is interesting. You could bring it up. When I was at CNN, and I was a field producer, and I was covering all the universities in Texas, and the holy grail for me, the story I really wanted was Big Bang, because that was what astronomy then was all about. Big Bang,
The
and it was
Big
getting all
Bang.
the money.
That's what you were
Right?
really into then.
I was really into that.
Ah,
I was really into Big Bang. I mean, back in the 80s. And when a fellow by the name of Steve Russell first came to me, and this was, I think, back in 2003. He was in my study group. We were the ones doing the original Planet X work. We were all from Mensa, which is a society for people with genius IQs and social disability. And the we were we were having a good time analyzing all this, and finally, he says, "I want you to read this book I got. It's called. It just came out. It was just disclosed by this group in England that were the caretakers of it. It's called The Colburn, and I want you to read it." At the time, I had no interest in anything other than science. I was Sergeant Friday, just the facts, man, just the facts. And so he goes, "I want you to read the Colbert." And I said, "Oh no, don't do this to me." It's like, what? It's going to be about the hoochie coochie princess shoots the arrow in the air,
but by the
and
way,
big bad guy comes falling down. And he
Marshall,
just said,
were you religious at this time?
"No,
Okay,
absolutely
okay.
not. I found God through the work."
Oh,
And
okay.
this work brings you to God. I'm telling you, it's the only way you find peace with it. So he's telling me, I'm telling him the hoochie coochie princess, and I'm being a jerk, to be honest. And he just says, "Marshall, shut up and read it." Me? Shut up? Moi? You say this to moi? And it was like a challenge. It's like, that's it.
Yes.
Okay, send me this fakakata book. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to slam dunk it. I get it. I'm 1.5 pages into the book, and I'm absolutely blown away because the ancient Egyptians described the Big Bang, and they understood the whole thing of the Big Bang was, I mean, millions, maybe billions of dollars on this. And they had a simple question: does the universe continue to expand forever? Or does it eventually gravity take hold and we shrink back into another singularity and the process begins again? It was like, putting Peggy Lee sings "Is That All There Is" on continuous loop. So I'm looking at this. This is the whole thing that they're doing. I'm reading in the Colburn, and the ancient Egyptians, 3,600 years ago, go, "It's just going to keep spreading out." They had the answer. They had the answer. We could have saved hundreds of millions of dollars in astronomy if we'd have just read the Colburn. The ancient Egyptians had the answer. The question is where did they get that from? Makes you think. Well, the thing about the Colburn is that it is the best documented account of a flyby, which was Exodus. And the Egyptian account of Exodus in the Colburn is man on the street. It is very direct. You read it, there is no question about what's going on. And what the ancient Egyptians tell us about this is that when we all do finally see it, we're going to feel fear like we never could have imagined. And what happened to them was that men became impotent and women became infertile. They were that affected. Now, think about this. the average age back then was, people didn't live past their 30s.
Not, yeah,
So most of the people were teenagers. Have you ever found something that could scare sex out of a teenager?
not at all.
Absolutely. But Planet X will. And the way they, and then also there's a little book that I publish, uh, Planet X and the Colburn Bible Connection. It's a one-day read. I call it a cup of tea book.
So, by the way,
And what it does is it connects up the Holy Bible to the Colburn
yes.
Bible and other religious texts. And when you see it, it all comes together like Legos.
So,
When you see it, actually, you get to realize
right.
that the actual Holy Bible is a preparatory for what's coming, Planet X.
I was just going to quickly mention, so you believe the Sumerians had it right?
Mm-hmm.
Understood.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sitchin did it right. The people that attack Sitchin's work are the same kind of Yetzes that are, like this religious group. Okay. It's like they have their doctrine, they have their dogma. And if you're not on lockstep with them, then you're the slime ball. Go back to your slime pool. And they're going to mock you, humiliate you, and everything. It's kind of like, I guess they took that out of the globalist playbook. And that's the way it is, the way it has always been. Truth is always mocked and ridiculed. But the Colburn is a phenomenal book. But you don't even have to buy the whole Colburn. Just get that little book. It's one day read. All the quotes that come out of the Colburn that are important about Planet X, which is called the Destroyer. The ancient Hebrews and the ancient Egyptians both called it the Destroyer. And you will see the term destroyer used in modern Bibles depending on which variant. It comes down to the etymology and how they choose to translate the original texts.
And as we know, there's been multiple extinction periods throughout mankind.
Yes.
We might face another one.
Yeah. But, there was an old gentleman, and I did love him so. He's passed on a few years ago, but he said, every time God destroys the planet, he leaves a few good seeds to start over with.
Well, that's positive.
Yeah.
But doesn't help all of us.
No, it doesn't.
It really doesn't.
It doesn't.
By the way, Marshall, what would be the best place to be on Earth when all these disasters happen, when the sea rises? Unfortunately, it won't be in El Centro where I'm at, where I'm below sea level, near the Salton Sea. I'm going to die here once that happens.
Salton Sea, you're in pretty rough territory.
Oh, hell
there.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like...
It's death out here.
Yeah, it's not so good. Where do you want to be? You want to be with like-minded people who are ready to go out and make it happen. You want to be with people who are going to say one for all and all for one. Or where we go one, we go all. Same thing.
Right. And of course, we are coming to a close here, Marshall. I did want to ask you one more thing.
Sure.
Since you're a movie guy, what was exactly the last film you saw?
The last film I saw was, I was watching Avatar again.
People really loved Avatar. There was even some people that were getting sad at one time because of the movie Avatar. They were having some sort of psychological issue.
Oh, I find Avatar to be inspiring. It was a beautiful movie. I was hoping they'd do the sequels, and I guess the movie was so inspiring, the elites wouldn't let them, do it again.
It was a great movie.
I mean, there's manipulation. I'll give you an example of that. Remember the movie 2012?
How can I forget?
When they tell you it's okay, that's when you run, I think.
Right.
I'll give you an interesting insight that people don't see what happens in my world that you guys don't see.
Uh-oh, go ahead.
When I came out with my Planet X book in 2007, and we licensed several, created different language licenses. We had publishers in Italy, Japan, Germany, Holland, and when we brought the book out, we got an offer from the second largest publisher in Japan wanting uh, the Japanese language translation rights. And I mean, when I saw the offer, I was, yeah, boom, I'll take it. And I found out later that this publisher had been working with Sony. They were the ones that did the film, and they understood how the original version of 2012 was going to play when it was first done. The movie was scheduled to come out. It was a summer blockbuster. It was scheduled to come out as a blockbuster. And then they canceled that, and it came out in like the winter during, like around November when it's the art films, like
Ah, yes.
Mud, stuff like that. This is not when you come out with a blockbuster.
Right. And Marshall, by the way, there is another soul here who I think might have a question for you. Star, go ahead. Did you have a question for Mr. Masters here?
Yes, well, it was just about Avatar
Oh, go
when
ahead.
you
Yeah.
just mentioned that. And I'm wondering, you've seen the movie. I happened to purchase the DVD, uh, the whole set. And there, on one of the discs, there is his trip to the Amazon, where
Uh-huh.
he did research and everything for the movie, for the, oh my God, what are they called? The Avatarians. No,
Right.
I can't say the name. Anyway, and a lot of his background and everything is from the jungle, but also following up on that, there was communication with other tribes there who had contact, but there are still tribes that have not contact. And it is, I forgot which government, but now there is a law that in certain areas where there are uncontacted tribes, it's almost like a sanctuary for them, for the white, or not whites, what am I saying? Slap my face. For civilized people, so to
Mhm.
speak, to not go into the territory, not expose themselves to these uncontacted tribes. And that is a conundrum.
That's pretty wild, yeah.
It's a
It's pretty
conundrum.
wild. By the way, you were talking about the Navi.
Navi, thank you very
Yeah, that's
much.
right. And here's an interesting thing. In the original 2012 movie, the premise was not solar. The premise was Planet X. That was the reason why I got such a phenomenal licensing deal, was that I had a book on Planet X, and 2012 was a Planet X movie. But what happened was the elites came in when they got wind of it, and they said, you cannot do it on Planet X. So when you've watched 2012, the beginning's a little herky jerky. It's kind of like thrown together. And
Oh, that's
when I
true.
saw it in the movie theaters, because they had to patch this and do some shooting, but in
I
the
thought
original
3D.
theatrical release, there was a 2-second, the director left it in, was a 2-second shot of Planet X that he had from the first version of the film.
Well, that is included in the set I bought, so I'll have to do
Really?
that. Yes, there
Good.
is the editor's cut, and then there's the cut that was seen in the movie. There's a 8-minute extension and the 16-minute extension.
I didn't even
And
know that.
16 starts out when the Avatar guy starts out
Hmm.
after he'd gotten back and he was a disabled veteran. He both of his legs were disabled. He was in a wheelchair.
He was
And that's
paraplegic.
where it
Yeah.
started, but I'd like to know what part of the movie it shows Planet X.
That was in the movie 2012, not in
Oh,
Avatar.
I'm sorry. Okay.
So we've been talking about two different movies,
Oh,
But I think the thing about Avatar was we were the bad guys.
yes, yes, especially with the industry
Hmm.
ripping everything up. And just, of course, the scientist, teacher, doctor, of course, she gets offed
Yeah,
for wanting to do the right thing and they wouldn't let her because of the big bucks. But I
right.
love the ending where they kind of shoot, go away now, be gone, you're assholes.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love it.
Yeah,
You
ending
know.
was awesome.
And then he goes through the eye of Iwa and Awa, and then he no longer needs. He's completely integrated with his avatar body, and
Exactly. And
it
if
was
you think
just
about it, aren't our bodies kind of like the avatar for our spirit?
excellent analysis. Excellent analysis. I think of, you know, what really brings you to this, because I did a lot of research on near death experiences, shared death experience, and out of body experience. And because I'm going, well, what's really going to happen when, you know, for example, in my book, Radio Free Earth, we explain how the government tells us that when the electrical grid fails, 9 out of 10 Americans are going to die from that one causality. And so,
Not knowing what to do, they're going to panic.
Oh, yes,
well,
technology will fail.
technology will fail. But here's what I see happening. And the reason why I do see a possible for a hopeful future is that, and over the years, I've interviewed many doctors and read a lot of books about this who have had patients that have had near death experiences and come back. And there's a type of near death, shared death, or out of body experience. There's a classification that's important: profound. What is a profound experience? Is you cross the veil and you see yourself as an eternal being. And then you understand right there and then reincarnation is the natural order of things.
And I think,
And
oh, I'm
go
sorry,
ahead,
I
Miss.
was
Go
just going
ahead.
to do a little snark, and it's like I don't want to spend my incarnation lives in. There's the freezing people to be defrosted after they found a cure for stuff, or implanting their minds and memories into an AI transhuman. No, I don't want to be a mechanical body. And I don't want to keep this body. I want to trade it in on a new one. When I'm out of here, I want a brand new one. It's like going to a used car lot. No, I don't want used. I want a brand new one. Here, I'll turn
Hey,
in the old one. I won't get my deposit back, but that's okay. I still want a new one.
hey, you know, what can I say? Except you got it right, sister.
Oh, thank you, kind.
And you really do. I mean, and that's the same thing. I want to reincarnate. I don't want to reincarnate in a slave world. I want to reincarnate in a Star Trek future.
Sure.
And see, here's the thing. I'm working on my next book, which is going to be called Perpetual Genesis. And I have to say, what is the event that is going to change everything? All right. Well, when you have 9 out of 10 people dying around you, you're touched by death in every way imaginable. And people are going to have these profound experiences. They're going to see themselves as eternal beings. When that happens, you come back profoundly changed. Acquisition is no longer the driving force of your life, it's harmony.
Exactly.
And people who've had NDEs want to do something. For example, our article on the site by J.P. Jones, Signs 31, and JP got it dead on the money. And he's been doing this work. He's a very successful gentleman in his own right, but he had a heart attack. He was out of body, and he was sitting there watching watching them work on him and resuscitate. And he actually told them what they were saying, which blew him away.
That's
And he
amazing.
said that changed his whole life. And he wanted to do something meaningful and significant. So we're going to have so much death around us. Those of us who do survive are going to be profoundly different.
That's
We're
going
not
to
going
partially be due to we baby boomers. because right now, since there was the baby boom in the late 40s and 50s, and now we're getting to the sign out age, graduation time, if you will, and there are going to be as many dying as there were born and increase the population. And there hasn't been a baby boom since the late 40s and 50s.
Hold on one
So,
moment here, by the way, Star. There is another voice that has presented themselves. Let's invite them in really quickly here, Star. Hold that thought.
oh, right.
Caller, what's going on? Are you there? Are you alive? Talk to me. Yes, caller, go ahead.
I'm not hearing them.
I'm not hearing them either. And they're here. They're live. I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay, Mike, you know what?
We're gonna
I'm
drop
going to
them.
hop off. I've been on for a bit, and I just want to hear Marshall finish up on what he was telling me. But I'm going
No
to hop
worries.
off, and maybe the other caller can get in.
Well, they're gone now, but
Oh,
I do thank you for jumping in here.
Yeah, it's when people who have had near death, shared death, and out of body experiences, and it's profound, they've seen them, they want to come back and they want to do something good. They want to leave this world better than they found it. And so that to me has always been something that could give me hope that there would be an enlightened future, that we're not going to wind up in some Mad Max world with tyrants enslaving us. And that has always been an endearing thing that has given me strength to do my work.
Right.
But now I'm seeing this global freedom movement, this avant sociologique. I probably butchered the French, but it's happening. And I'm seeing all of it, and it stuns me. I don't think there's anything more magnificent than a human being standing up and say, I demand my freedom. There's nothing more magnificent. Nothing.
I agree. Once again, Marshall, I do want to thank you tremendously for being a part of the program yet again. You always do a fantastic job once I bring you on board here.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Always enjoy it with you.
Yeah, it's a great time each time. And
Yep.
the listeners truly appreciate it as much as I do. So, once again, thank you so much for being a part of the program. And, Marshall, go ahead and plug anything you'd like before we let you leave here.
Folks, go to my website, radiofreeearth.org, and watch. I have an hour and 40 minutes of free instruction. I'm not asking you to give me an email address, buy anything. It's going to tell you how two-way radios are going to help you save your personal freedom, how are you going to use them with others, and an inexpensive way to get started. Radiofreeearth.org, please.
Amazing. Once again, thank you so much. And I'll talk to you on the flip side, Mr. Masters.
You got it.
All right, my friend. Good night and take care.
You too. Cheers.
And there he goes, Mr. Marshall Masters, a very great guest. And now I'm looking at the clock. It is that time to go on a break. And when I return, Celebrity Death Pool Revisited. Oh, yeah. It's time to do it again. It seems that many of you missed it the first time and want me to just redo it and add some names. So I figured, sure, why not? Let's have fun again on the second half. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see so many of you out there still. That's amazing. Here we are, boys and girls, together again like a big, happy, dysfunctional family. And by the way, I do have a special guest with me here right now. Let's bring them in. Are you there?
Hello.
Oh my goodness.
Hi.
I'm excited to talk to you again.
Hi, Michael Decon.
How's it going, Vanessa?
It's going good.
I'm so glad you called.
Yeah.
I was
Hi.
really hoping to talk to you, and I'm glad you're here. You will join me as I bring in Celebrity Death Pool 2019, the revision.
Ooh. Bring it.
We're going to have to. It's going to be an amazing time yet again for those that missed it the first time. And I know it's kind of hacky to go over the same bit. However, there's a few additional names that we got to add to the list. And of course, Vanessa, I would love your input.
Okay, great.
Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
Let's hit the music. Oh, there it is.
Wait.
I hit the wrong button there. Isn't that lovely?
I love it. Is that Love Boat?
No.
Oh.
No, that's not Love Boat. Beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I love it.
Oh, here we are again, folks. Celebrity Death Pool 2019. This will be fun. Oh, yeah. And there we go. It dies just as quickly as it started.
That's right.
I love that music, by the way. So much fun. And of course, for those that don't know, Celebrity Death Pool, do not be afraid to engage with us here. You can call in.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. You can call in or just send it in the chat room and I'll definitely try to read it. Now, I do have some top 10 picks to revise for all of you out there who missed it the first time.
Okay, these are the same ones as last time?
Yes, and then of course I will be adding the additional names.
Okay, I like it.
Just as a reminder.
Okay.
You like that?
Yeah.
All right,
it's real
perfect.
good.
All right, here we go. Now, Bill Clinton, number 10. That's a pretty good pick. How do you feel about that? Do you think he might check out in 2019?
Probably not.
You don't think so?
No, evil takes long to die.
Oh, I like that answer.
Yeah. He'll be around for a little while longer.
He
Raping a few people. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, we might have a lawsuit on our hands.
Oh, damn it.
Allegedly.
Yes, exactly. Allegedly.
Okay. Well, my God, since you said that, I have to open up a beer right now, right here live. You know, I was doing that in private, but goddamn, you really, you make me break kayfabe there. That means you got me out of character.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, yes. I'm hearing myself repeating. That's not good.
Uh-oh. Echo.
And it might be gone. Oh, it's gone now. Thank God. Thank the heavens. So, number 9, Kevin Spacey.
Oh.
Nah. My God. No?
No, I mean, suicide, maybe?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he might just kill himself.
Maybe. I mean, he seems a little, off.
Well, he's very off. He's been into underage boys for a long time.
Yeah, that's gross. We don't need people like that. He could go.
He could go. Well, we'll find out. It's still very early on in the year. We just got started, so...
Yeah.
Keep your fingers crossed. And, of course, number 8. That's Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I think he's going to die.
Bill Cosby, of course. That is a great pick. Of course, I mentioned on the previous show, many think he may even go out the way Aaron Hernandez went out.
Okay, so can we guess how they die?
Sure.
Or is that too much?
No, that's cool. We could do that. And when I say he will go out like Aaron Hernandez, I don't mean he's going to acquire a boyfriend.
Uh-oh.
And then hang himself. That's not going to happen.
Okay.
But yeah, suicide. That might just happen. He might just suicide himself behind bars.
I think so. I feel it. I feel good about that one.
You feel good? Positive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with you on that one. And of course, number 7 is Pete Davidson, comedian, all star, family darling all of a sudden. The media loves him. Everyone is pandering for him. He's had a rocky 2018, as I said before. However,
Hmm.
I might not, I think he might not even go out.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't feel strong about that
No,
one.
he was hooking up with Kate Beckinsale.
She's kind of old. He likes the milfs.
Very old for him,
Yeah.
but he's
He
got to
likes
get
the
it.
milfs.
He's got to get it done.
I mean, she's pretty.
I think she's gorgeous, even at that
Really
age.
now? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, not as gorgeous as you, but
Ah,
she's pretty.
that's right.
She's pretty hot, and she could take care of him financially.
That's right. Yeah.
But nowadays,
Sugar baby. He's a sugar baby.
that
I see
I
it.
think so. But I think he might even make more money than her nowadays. You never know.
Probably.
He's killing it with that SNL money.
Yeah. I mean, if he died, it would definitely be like an overdose.
I just spilled some beer on myself because I giggled.
Really?
Yeah, I was laughing. I'm drinking the 805 beer for those that were wondering.
Is that an IPA?
That's a Firestone Walker Brewing Company, and yeah, that's an IPA. And I'm drinking the can version for those asking.
Oh.
Whoa, your mic is going kind of off there, Vanessa.
You mean my phone?
Or your phone, rather, was being weird.
Yeah. Internet, probably.
Yeah, I think it's the internet. But now it's all good. So we're ready
Okay.
to keep rolling here. And of course, Dan Blankenship, who of course is from Oak Island fame.
Who's that?
From Oak Island, that TV show.
Um.
It's an older guy. The oldest guy
Oh,
there.
Okay.
He's going to go away probably in 2019. That's how I feel, but we'll see. And of course, Tina Turner.
Tina Turner. I see that.
Yeah, Tina Turner.
I feel it, and then everybody's gonna tweet about how they loved her and
I
she was their
know.
favorite.
And she's going to
And
make
they had never mentioned her ever.
and she's going to make so much money, and all the artists out there, they're going to say how she influenced their career and yada yada yada.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it. I feel strong about that
Isn't
one.
that the most pretentious thing? Anytime someone passes away, there's always that person saying, "Oh, they helped my career. They did
Yeah,
this,
and
they
they had
did
never
that."
mentioned them before.
Yeah, and they never talked about them. And then, of course, I'm looking forward to when Hanson dies. I'm looking forward
That
to when all the other musicians come out and say, "Oh yeah, Hanson, I love them."
Okay, number one, Hanson is not a bad band.
First of all, how dare you? And the only reason why you like them is because of their love story.
Yeah, I like their love story.
I mean,
it's really nice.
it's kind of cute. I'm not gonna lie. It's a very cute story.
Mm-hmm.
Very lovely story there.
But Bop is a good song.
Bop is a good song to you.
Yeah, it's a bop. It's a jam.
Jesus. I had a drink to that. My God. Had a drink to that one. And of course, number 4 is Artie Lang, who's had a very rocky 2018.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he might go. And of course, I told him via Twitter that I had to add him to the celebrity death pool, and he responded with a big fuck you.
Really? He did? Did he block you?
Not personally to me, but to everyone who was adding him to their celebrity death pool list.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm not the first one to tweet him that.
Well, yeah. I mean, drugs.
Well, of course. He looks like
Yeah.
complete. He looks like complete shit. But I love Artie Lang so much. I really did not want to put him on there. Trust
Yeah.
me,
Is that
it
the
was
one
hard.
you would feel? You would feel that one?
I would feel kind of sad if that big, bloated bastard died.
Yeah. Would you tweet rip?
Yeah, I would tweet rip, and I'd say all that sort of thing. Artie is a victim. That's what Silver Pants there is saying there in the chat room.
Silver pants.
No, well, that's not his name, but I'm gonna call him Silver Pants. It sounds better.
Okay.
He should change his name to Silver Pants.
Yeah, I like that one better.
I like it a lot better. Yeah, it flows better. But yeah, he was on the Artie and Anthony show for a couple months there, But of course, drugs took him out. He was always late to the show, and of course, he would go on the bathroom break there and probably snort a couple lines.
Yeah, but he's like he's not thin. I always thought that cocaine made you thin.
No, he's a big bastard. He's not thin at all.
I'm confused.
You are confused. You've never
Yeah.
really seen a true coke addict.
No, I thought they were supposed to be thin.
And it's surprising since you're from Florida.
It's cool here.
There's a lot of overweight,
Really?
coke heads. Yeah. Especially the ones that are past 45 years old.
Yeah.
Looking at you,
Wow.
looking at you in San Diego there. Oh yeah, lots of wealthy people in San Diego I've talked to that were very much into the cocaine,
Okay.
and they were, pretty hefty individuals.
Really? Wow. I always thought they were like, maybe I watched too much Scarface.
I think you do.
Yeah.
I think you do. So moving along here, number 3,
Mhm.
Bernie Sanders.
Oh,
I'm afraid he might go.
he might.
He might
That
go.
would be crazy.
You think so?
That would be. I mean, that's a good one.
I'm rooting for him though.
To live or to die?
Not to live, not to die.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. If not this year, definitely next year. We got him next year.
Next year. That's terrible.
2020.
And of course, number 2, we got that Hillary Clinton there.
Oh yeah. For sure. Maybe.
She was like in really bad health when she
Yeah,
was
she'll
running
die,
for.
and then
Mhm.
Bill will die after.
Bill will die after that. That might happen.
Yeah, I feel that.
By the way, Vic something in the chat room says, I have Pikachu on my list.
That's fucked up.
How dare you?
That is messed up.
Yeah, that's messed up. Of course,
The new Pikachu or the old Pikachu?
I like the old Pikachu. He's got a little stomach there.
Yeah, he chunk.
He's a little chunky there. He real thick.
Absolute unit.
That's right. So
Yeah.
yeah, Hillary, she might just go out that old bag.
Yeah, I feel it.
Poor woman. She has all kinds of people giving her all kinds of shit. Just trashing her
mean,
nonstop.
I don't like her. I don't like her, and she's evil enough to survive.
She's a wicked woman. Don't get me wrong. That's true.
But
She's evil.
I think she might. I think she might go.
She might go, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Her 11s are showing.
Yeah, probably at the end of the year, but she will die.
She will die indead. My
Unless
goodness.
she's already dead.
Well, G Don in the chat room thinks Hillary's been dead.
Wow, I like that conspiracy. Maybe
That's a pretty
she's
good
like
one.
a robot.
That's true. And Star wants to call in. Of course, Star, you are welcome to do so. And of course, number 1, I thought the Pope might go down this year, 2019.
Really?
I think so.
That's a sin, Michael. You can't say that.
Well, praise the sinners. And of course, that whole honorable mention list, that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, another pick, but it seems like she's recuperating just fine.
Okay.
I thought we might have had a win there.
I'll win.
Oh yeah, I was actually quite excited. I thought, wow.
Look, Stanley was on my list last year, like on my own personal list, and
Who's
he
Stanley?
died. So, yeah, I predicted it.
Well, let's bring Star in really quickly here. Let's see if she has any picks to add here. Star, I know you just wanted to say hi to Vanessa, but did you have any names to add to the celebrity death pool list?
Yes,
Go ahead.
it's Queen Elizabeth and oh God, I just had it.
Queen Elizabeth, that's a good pick.
Queen Elizabeth and her husband.
Yeah, I could
Oh,
see that
wow.
happening.
Whole
Either,
family.
either one, it's a horse race who gets to the end first.
A horse race.
Yeah.
Isn't it romantic though when one dies and then the other one dies after? It's kind of romantic.
Yeah. They probably are holding hands all the way through it. Hi, Vanessa. I missed
Hi,
you.
Star.
How
Hi.
come you don't come in the chat room?
There's a lot of people in there. It's kind of intimidating.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
They got nothing on you, sister.
Oh, I love you.
Okay, well, let's see. Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth.
What's his face? The king guy? Or no, he's not. He's
Larry King?
husband of the queen.
Oh,
Oh,
Larry
And,
King for sure.
no, she's
and
thinking of someone else.
Oh,
There are also people who are not elderly that might just croak because of lifestyle or just because they're assholes. I could think a couple. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. I'm not gonna.
You could say anything.
I know I could, but I'm not.
I think you should.
No,
yeah, say it.
Should-
say it.
no, sir.
I mean,
no,
I got a wild card here. I got Dave Schrader on the list. He might just kill himself.
No.
You never know.
Dave's a nice guy. Don't wish that on
He,
him.
I'm not wishing anything. I'm just saying it could happen.
Yeah, that doesn't sound likely.
I could die tomorrow too.
No,
So could I,
You
and I-
cannot.
I could get hit by a bus. You never know.
I'm a boomer. I'd be more likely to die tomorrow than you.
Or, well, actually, a really strange thing is that I do still live close to a naval facility.
Uh-huh.
and
Also,
For those, yeah, but for those that don't know, lots of training goes on out here with different pilots. The Blue Angels train out here, so all kinds of different skill levels of pilots come out here to train. And
yes, not to mention the
Mhm.
reactivated super volcano down at the mud holes below Salton Sea.
right, that too. But what I was saying is, or what I was getting at was that there was an incident not that long ago, Star, where
Uh-oh.
one of these people actually crashed into a house out here.
Eh,
So I mean, the possibilities of me dying, they're up
I thought
there.
it was in your house.
It could happen. You never know.
No, don't say that. Are you adding yourself? Wait, are you
I-
adding yourself to your list?
I'm adding myself to the list here.
Don't
Yeah.
do that.
Honorable
Look,
mentions.
Bonus round.
I might die here in 2019, folks. You never know.
Move to Florida or Colorado or Alaska or something.
Well, I'm gonna get
Yeah,
married.
yeah, move
Well,
to Florida.
that's true. I am gonna marry Vanessa. That's true.
That's
you
right.
are? Really?
Well, we
No?
decided
Yeah, we decided right now. Just right now.
just right
I
now.
wanna be- I want to be matron of honor.
You could do that. It'll be perfectly fine.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So, Star,
Unless you guys want to elope.
Star, any more names?
No, I'm going to go.
Oh, you're
I'll
gonna go.
stop embarrassing you.
Okay.
You guys have a good night. Love you all. Love you, chat room.
Love you.
Okay.
All right, Star. Thank you so much for the names there.
Why is she so cute?
You're
Oh, we might have cut her off a little too soon there.
It's okay.
Sorry about that, Star. But yes, really do appreciate you coming on here and giving us your names. All good. I really do appreciate that. And of course, we do have some additional names since I gave you the official top 10. There were other names that so many people chimed in with. I felt kind of bad, to be honest with you. I thought, goddamn, I missed a whole list of other people that wanted to mention their picks. So that's what we're doing here tonight. For those who are just jumping in on the TuneIn Radio app, I do see some of you out there. Amazing.
Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
Right. And of course, we do have one more, well, multiple names. We have Robert Redford.
Oh, the actor.
Do you know who that is?
Yes, he's an older gentleman. He's kind of handsome.
He's super old.
Yeah, I think.
I like him. I've always liked Robert Redford.
Yeah, isn't he like a communist? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know if he's a communist. He actually starred. He actually starred in the movie The Old Man and His Gun.
I think he goes to Cuba all the time.
I believe that's the.
He-
believe that's the accurate title of that movie. I'm not quite sure, but yeah. I didn't know that,
Yeah.
Vanessa. Really?
Okay.
He's a
think he
commie.
is. I don't know. But yeah, I mean he's super old, right?
Oh yeah, he's ancient.
Yeah, we should add like a young person to the list.
We will. Don't worry. We have a bunch of old people though that a lot of individuals wanted to throw their name.
Okay, look, I
in
went
there.
into the chat right now and I saw somebody added Axl Rose.
Axl
and I'm not
Rose.
okay with that. I'm not okay with that.
Axl Rose is very ancient. That's true. He's kind of bloated. He has a bloated
I saw
liver.
him in concert last year, and he's really good. He
He's still
sings really
singing good?
still. Yeah, he got energy.
Oh, that's good. And of course, we see Steven Tyler added to that as well by our same lovable character here in the chat room.
Oh, I feel attacked.
I know you feel
I
a little
don't.
attacked.
Yeah, because I like both those people.
Those are good
Steven
picks, though.
Tyler. Not yet. I think too soon. Too soon.
Toothpick Tyler. That's what someone in the chat room said. Very true. He is very skinny, like he's been doing math for about 40 years, right? It looks like it.
He looks like a woman. Have you seen him
He does look like
lately?
a transsexual woman. That's true.
Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with
Do you
that.
think he's banged a couple guys?
um. Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean,
He's done everything.
when you're a rock star, you're doing drugs and you want to experiment a little bit.
Yeah,
I could see that
I
happening.
think that.
I could see you probably cornholing a guy or two.
Oh.
Well, not me personally, but amazing. G Don
That's
with
special.
Kylie Jenner.
No.
She's gonna have to develop some sort of drug problem that we are not privy to.
Or maybe like a surgery gone wrong.
Yeah,
Maybe.
botched surgery that could work, and of course G Don with Beth Chapman from Dog the Bounty Hunter. She's huge. That's what G Don says, and yeah, she's as big as a barn.
Oh God.
She's a cardiomyopathy victim, no doubt. Poor Beth Chapman.
So she's more than just thick.
She's bigger than Chunk.
Okay.
She fluffy.
Oh God.
That's true. And of course, we do have Henry Kissinger. He's about 95 years old.
Okay.
That guy might just outlive us all, though.
Maybe 95 is. He might make it to 100.
He just might. We never know. And this next one, this one really hurt me. Of course, that was Tommy Lasorda. That might be a little bit unknown to you, Vanessa, but holy shit, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Let me look it up.
he's about 90 right now, and oh God, once he dies, I'll be so sad. I've got so many early childhood memories of that overweight bastard running around in the dugout there for the Dodgers.
Okay.
Along with him and Vin Scully, two great people. Can't forget them.
And they're old?
Just can't forget them. Just legendary figures. So yeah, I'll be sad once Tommy Lasorda does go out.
Rip.
Yeah, rest in peace. And look in the chat room here. We got 6ix9ine gonna get shot Tupac style.
Oh, Tupac. I think Puff Daddy killed Tupac.
You think Puff Daddy killed Tupac?
Yeah, I think. I have a theory.
G Don with Tom Likas. He might die, that's true. It's possible. He's another guy who's very overweight, but he's been doing
Are we
good.
burning bridges here a little bit, maybe?
Well, that's kind of what the show's all about, burning bridges, having fun. Doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Can't take anything away.
That's right. We already said it.
We already said it.
It's done.
It's done. What's done is done. That's true. So moving on here, we do have Harvey Weinstein. That's a name that everybody wanted to throw out to me. Now, okay, I get it. That's wishful thinking on the listener's part, but the guy ain't dying soon. He may have had a rough 2018, but he'll make up for it in 2019. Let me be the first to tell you guys that. The guy's got the ultimate FU money, and he still holds ultimate power. Sure,
I think he's even lost a little weight.
He might have lost a little weight over the stress, but he may not get the whole 5-star treatment that the media outlets have, been trying not to. But of course, Hollywood will embrace him. Mark my word. They
like
will
Mel
embrace
Gibson.
him. Oh, the Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, Mel Gibson.
I love that Mel Gibson.
That green dress you're wearing.
That's true. That is true. And we see a star there with George Soros, who was added to I think he was on the honorable mention list, that George Soros.
Okay.
Of course, we got Bubba the Love Sponge there, G Don, the infamous shock jock, Bubba the Love Sponge, which most people today only know him as the guy who let Hulk Hogan smash his wife and release a sex tape.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it. I don't want to see Hulk Hogan smashing anything.
No.
Do you remember his son Nick Hogan?
I do actually. I remember maybe watching their reality show at one
Hogan
point.
Knows Best.
Yeah.
That was a terrible reality show, and his untalented daughter and his dim-witted son who killed the guy.
Yeah.
That was fun. I mean, Hulk Hogan was the one who bought them the beer.
That's when reality shows were actually kind of good.
Well, that was the whole birth of the whole
Yeah.
reality era, which I still blame Donald Trump being partially responsible for that.
Yeah.
I
I
think he's
always
the one
blame
who
the
kicked it off.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, the Osbournes. That was another early show in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
That was a weird family, right?
Very weird.
It was a weird, fucked up family.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Can I add somebody?
You could add anyone you want. It's all good.
This is for you.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna add the guy from Sugar Ray. What's his name? Mark
Oh my
McGrath.
God, Sugar Ray.
Yeah, I'm gonna add him.
I want him to die.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I'm
yet.
banking on it.
I'm gonna add him.
I hope he
and
drives
everybody's
his...
gonna say that he was amazing and that they loved him and he was their favorite,
I hope he drives his...
including you.
I hope he drives his van off a cliff.
Oh God.
That no good, talented hack, Mark McGrath. Ugh, yuck. He
Yeah, that was for you.
stinks. He fucking stinks. I hate that guy.
Does he still have you blocked?
Yeah. Matter of fact, let me check on Twitter right now. Am I still blocked by Mark McGrath on Twitter? Let me see. Mr. Red Carpet there. I still think it was gold that I talked about him. And his listeners alerted him to my comments on Twitter. And then the next time I hit refresh, I was magically blocked. Isn't that amazing how that worked out?
That's kind of an honor.
It is, right? He actually took the time to actually tune in and listen to me making fun of him.
Like, I mean, I would be proud.
I mean, I wouldn't even be upset. I'd be laughing if somebody was just trashing me randomly on the internet there.
Someone just asked in the chat room, who don't we hate? Who don't you guys hate?
It's not hate. It's all love.
Yeah, it's all love.
Hate and love come from the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't your mother taught you that yet? It all comes from the same place.
Yeah.
So, furthermore, adding on, Don Imus, the I-Man, he's also getting up there in age, and I think that pretty soon this might just be the year. And I know it might be wishful thinking to some of you who brought up his name, but holy shit. Don Imus. Who knows? Of course, another name who goes hand in hand with Don Imus is Howard Stern. But come on now. He just had his 65th birthday. He's not going to go anywhere. He has the ultimate FU money as well, and he has the best doctors around and all sorts of creepy stuff that we're not aware of.
Yeah, human growth hormones.
Yeah, that dude's good. He's not going to die.
Yeah, he's going to be okay.
Robin Quivers might die before Howard Stern does. That's a G down there. That's true, Robin Quivers. She's had her bout with cancer. You never know.
Oh God, I feel mean now.
The whole part of this is not to be mean, though. It's just to talk about the reality that
yeah, it's true. Death is a beautiful thing.
Death is coming, and it's never stopped, and it never will.
Yeah.
Luke in the chat room says Howard Stern has 20 to 25 years left in him. Luke, I respectfully disagree with you. I don't think he has that many years left. Maybe 10 at the most.
10. Yeah, I think 10. That's good.
And of course, Zeke, he says he's got to get going. Got to go make that FU money. See ya.
Make that bread.
I understand, Zeke. Go chase that paper. And Looney, he says Heather Wade might suicide. Or Heather Wade by suicide, rather. Interesting. You never know. Women these days, they'll kill themselves.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to be a girl out in the world today.
Suicide's the new orange.
Yes.
And of course, we got Al Sharpton. That's another name that people were throwing out to me. He hasn't been looking very good the last couple years. I remember when he used to look less frail than he does now, rather. How do you feel about that?
I'm looking up 20 and like looking at. Oh yeah. Oh, that guy.
Yeah, you know Al
Okay.
Sharpton.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
But
know him.
I remember he's like a huge meme with his picture, with his selfie.
With that hair.
Um, yeah.
That
No,
fucking hair.
maybe is he like bulimic or something?
I don't know, but he looks really weird, right? I think he got on some sort of diet.
Yeah, I think he might die of starvation.
You never know. And of course,
Yeah.
Luke in the chat room, Russell Crowe by suicide.
Okay, now we're just naming anybody.
Well, you never know. He might go.
Yeah,
Well, you
uh,
never know.
you never know. Yeah, he's not
Again,
American though.
he's not American. Well, that's okay if he's not American.
No, I know, but I mean, like, isn't like I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like maybe
Because
it's
he's
not
not
cool over
American.
there.
That's funny.
Drugs and stuff. Isn't that like an American thing?
No, it's pretty worldwide.
Yeah,
Last time I checked.
no, but you know what I mean. And
I hear ya.
obviously, but I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. By suicide, I don't know. I don't know if it's trendy over there. I
John,
don't think he lives here.
G Don with Stevie Wonder and John Lear. He says, I hope not. Yeah, I love John Lear, and, you know, he loves being on the program. I'll definitely invite him back very soon. But Stevie Wonder, that's a interesting pick there.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. Get it?
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
He did it.
He didn't see it. No.
Oh, yes. So many great names, so many people suggested that we add in here.
I like it. I like
Me
it.
too. I do want to thank everybody for adding those names. And those were the names, boys and girls. That was certainly fun. Keep an eye on those names. I think eventually we will have to start giving away prizes for some of those picks. As hacky as that is, I think we might just do it.
You mean like if you got it right?
Yeah, I might just start giving away books or something. I might give away, I don't know.
Yeah,
We just
something
might.
autographs maybe?
Maybe something autographed, maybe a 8x10 of a photo, a headshot of me. You never know.
Oh, sexy.
Very sexy.
Yeah, I hope I win.
I'll send you some photos, but you know, of a different kind,
Okay.
of a very different kind.
That's right.
And of course, moving along here, we do have a little bit of Florida news since you're here, Vanessa. This wouldn't be a program without the Florida news.
That's right. Oh God, I'm not up to date with the Florida news, but I mean, I'm pretty sure nothing surprises me.
Well, check this shit out right here. A person accidentally was decapitated by a helicopter.
Wow.
Can you believe that a person was decapitated by a helicopter in a accident at a Florida airport? Apparently, this guy was in the hangar there at the Brooksville Airport north of Tampa. Do you know where that is?
Yes, Tampa.
Well,
yes, like 3 hours away from me.
That's about 3 hours. Well, this guy was out there, and apparently some sort of accident must have went down. I mean, this dude got his head cut off there. That's pretty crazy.
Are we gonna talk about the tweaker that licked the doorbell in California?
My God. You know, my dad actually texted me about that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, look at this meth head. And I thought, no shit, right? This guy is all twacked out, licking doorbells.
Yeah, that sounded like a Florida news.
That was like a Florida guy.
Not.
It's not
It's
though,
the next
right?
best thing. Next best.
Ooh, he's gonna get hepatitis.
Yeah, that's very gross. He didn't get electrocuted.
Jesus Christ. But that's not as bad as these other. Well, I mean, it is kind of bad. There's another article I read about these teenagers in Indonesia. They were reportedly boiling used tampons to get high.
What?
I thought it was a joke too. I even looked
Does
it up.
Do anything?
I went to multiple websites and I looked up the story, and apparently it's true.
Is that effective?
I guess so. We got some crazy bitches out there boiling used tampons to get high.
Wow. How does one discover that?
Look up the story, ladies and gentlemen. Do a search right now and read it yourself. I don't know how anyone would even phantom to think about boiling a used tampon.
Oh, they were used?
Well, apparently, in the story it says used.
That's disgusting.
I know. I thought we saw it all once we saw these retards with the whole Tide Pod thing.
Yeah, the memes.
Well, oh my God. Well, apparently people are going to be doing this soon here in America.
Wow. Florida first. I
Florida
hope.
first. Yeah, we're going to be seeing that out there.
I'm
Wow.
not gonna lie, I'm intrigued. Like I want to know what happened.
You want to get high
Like, no,
with your
but I
cap
want to
on?
know, like, like I just want to know. That's so interesting, actually.
It's a very unusual bit of news.
Yeah.
It's a really strange bit of news there. Good Lord.
Mhm.
And of course, we have the Law and Order director arrested on child pornography charges.
Oh,
He looks like a Rick Grimes.
what?
Yeah, he looks like him,
Really?
except a little bit methed out.
Uh,
A tiny bit,
oh,
a tiny bit.
yeah.
Which won't be that far off from the truth here. This guy, Alexander, was charged with promoting a sexual performance by a child and possessing an obscene sexual performance by a child. That's according to
That's
Variety.
that's very disturbing because I'm sure there's people that love that show, and then now the show's like ruined
It's
for them.
ruined. Apparently, this guy, the FBI, they were onto him because he was sharing child pornography via torrent.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there goes your TV show Law and Order director arrested on CP
That's,
charges. What a sick bastard.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
another one that deserves to die.
Yeah, that guy needs to be on the celebrity death pool.
Yeah.
Not by wishful thinking, just by facts alone.
Yeah, for sure.
Good God. And Vanessa, I'm so glad you're here. Another gentleman did send me an email.
Hmm.
And I've got multiple emails here, but this one stood out to me because it was a giant wall of text.
Oh God. One
Oh,
of those.
yes, one of those. And I'm so happy to read this one to you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, my goodness. Here we go. Hello. Hey, first of all, I would like to thank you for all the work, information, and interviews. Thank you for your own expression and being yourself. There is one thing that badly resonates with me during your interviews. Why do you say so much and so often as follows? Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Why are you talking this way? You say this in every interview. You talk in this way when something is shocking to you. There are other ways to talk when something shocks us besides you use the words that the church gave us. The church is a mafia. These are people who tell us that they created us and we are to kneel before them. Nobody made us, nobody created me. I am infinite and eternal. And he went on to write a couple more paragraphs, by the way.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ.
I won't read those parts because it's pretty repetitive. But that's the thing there.
Wow. Oh my God.
He goes on. He goes on to say, people who use phrases "Jesus Christ" are in the mental program. They have washed brains, quotations around that. They are hooked to the paradigm. They design energy juices for creatures who want to own us. Create your own paradigm using your power. Thank you for your interviews, and I wish you all the best, Michael from Poland.
Is he a troll?
No, this is a gentleman from Poland.
So he's legit.
I think so. I think this is the real deal Holyfield.
Oh wow.
So first and
Oh my God.
yeah, first and foremost, I do want to thank that individual for sending me that email there. And of course, I thought that's very kind of him. And please remember, ladies and gentlemen, don't hesitate. Definitely send me an email if you have any sort of questions or concerns, or any impersonations of myself or other listeners out there. All is fair game. That's Michael endofdays@gmail.com. So once again, I do want to thank that individual from Poland who sent me that lengthy email there.
Okay. And what is your response?
Well, my response would be very, very easy, very simple. And of course, I've had other people out there write to me who, individuals who are so far into religion, they get very angry and offended with me saying things like "God damn," "God damn it," and "How goddamn dare you?" Those
Mhm.
kind of phrases. And yes, I do try to restrain myself from saying those words. And I am trying, I do promise. I really don't use too much profanity in my own life. I rarely even use it here on the show. But I do understand what that individual means. And, I'll try my best to use other words, god damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like cunt. It feels good when you say it.
Cunt feels so great when it comes
Yeah.
off the tip of your mouth. Or tongue,
Oh
rather.
wow.
What?
Oh
Whoa.
wow.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, cunt. It's
Yeah.
a great word.
Mhm. It feels good to say it. So
It
it's kind of
feels
like
it feels good to say. It feels good to be around.
mhm.
Oh yes, and of
That's
course
right.
that's right indeed. And of course I do apologize to him. I'm sorry I offended you. I definitely don't mean to offend anybody.
Yeah, you just have to like try a little harder.
Yeah, I do got to try a little bit harder, but I mean, I do got to satisfy the bloodthirst listeners of this program.
Mhm.
Got to please everyone as best as I can, and not that way.
Oh.
You sick-minded bastards out there. Not that way. So Vanessa,
Why not?
oh, so Vanessa, I do want to thank you for being a part of the program here.
Okay.
We will be wrapping up in a moment.
Mhm.
But Vanessa, how are you doing tonight? Did you listen to the first part of that interview there?
I did actually, but like
Were you drinking, yes or no?
Marshall, I was actually.
I knew
Marshall
it.
kind of he makes me nervous.
Why does he make you nervous?
I don't know. He doesn't seem approachable.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, like
Well, that
I
makes
don't know.
sense.
He's intimidating,
He was
kind of.
intense tonight, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was not playing. He
He
was
was
not playing.
he was kind of fired up tonight.
Yeah, but you handled it great. Wow.
Well, thank you very much, but I was very taken back by him.
Mhm.
He was very fired up.
Yes.
And I think he even got angry.
He's that's what I'm saying. He gets mad. Like I feel like he gets mad,
He gets
and
pissed,
like
right?
I don't know. He scares me. He scares
He
me a little
scares
bit.
you.
Yeah,
He
a
doesn't
little
really
bit.
cause that effect on me, but he does get a little angry at times.
Yeah, but you're good at it,
But
so
right
you know how
but
to handle it.
rightfully so though.
Yeah, I know. I know.
My goodness.
Mhm.
See, I didn't say goddamn there.
You see, your goodness. I like that. I
I'm
like that.
learning.
Yeah.
Looney in the chat room here says Marshall was fired up indeed and kinda a crybaby.
Ooh.
Marshall seems like that uncle who lives in a trailer.
Oh.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about all that. I think he's just a very passionate individual, that's all.
Yeah. He's passionate.
Passionate. And there's nothing
I
wrong with
like
that.
that.
Yeah, he can be passionate all he wants. And Vanessa, again, I do want to thank you for being a part of the program. And of course, I will talk to you in a few minutes after we wrap up here.
Oh, really? Like a little after party?
Oh, of course,
Of course. Okay, great.
as we always do.
All right.
So,
Well,
Vanessa,
thank you for having
oh,
me on.
yes. Oh, yes. It was quite the honor and pleasure as always. And Vanessa, say goodnight to the listeners.
Good night, everybody.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Vanessa. I'll talk to you in a moment here.
All right, bye.
All right. Bye bye. And there she goes. Again, I do want to thank all of you out there for being a part of the program, those on the TuneIn Radio app, and of course, those on YouTube. Love all of you out there. And of course, I do appreciate those outside of America. Don't think I don't see all of you out there in the Netherlands and Canada and the UK. And of course, I do want to apologize to the UK listeners. I sort of trashed some of them on the last episode. I said that Katie Hopkins had bigger balls than most men in the UK. I do apologize for that comment. I was a bit fired up. I apologize. I love everyone in the UK and, of course, our Russian and German listeners. Really do appreciate all of you out there. And, of course, don't forget, if you missed last week's show, go to michaeldecon.com, and that's where you'll find the last episode. And, of course, for those who wondered, you can donate. Go to michaeldecon.com, right-hand side of the screen. Only if you'd like to. I would appreciate if you did. Definitely donate if you can. And of course, if you are listening to this on a replay on the TuneIn Radio app, don't forget, we are live every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And don't be shy either. You can always call into the program. That's another thing. I always get emails about people saying, oh, well, I'm too shy to call in. I don't want to call in. I don't want to embarrass myself. And I always respond with, don't be shy, don't be scared, it's just me here. I won't hurt you too bad, I promise. Now, thank you once again, folks. I hope you enjoyed tonight's program. It was a bit of a rattlesnake. And of course, you'll hear me again next week. And with that said, the world is a mysterious place, and life itself is a mystery. Until next time, good night, everybody.